I died choking on my own blood. Alex's hands around my throat like iron vices, his face twisted into that smug grin he saved for when he thought he'd won. The last thing I saw was Sophia's eyes, my twin sister's eyes, wide with horror from the doorway, too late to stop him. And then nothing. Blackness. Until the world snapped back into focus, and I was gasping awake in my old bed, the alarm clock blinking 7 a.m. on that godforsaken morning 3 years ago, my body 19 again, heart pounding like I'd just run the Boston Marathon. It wasn't a dream. It was a do-over. Rebirth. Whatever you call it when the universe spits you back out with a second chance to claw your way out of the grave. I sat up, sheets tangled around me like restraints, and touched my neck. Smooth skin, no bruises, no scars from the autopsy they never bothered to fake right. Alex's ring still glinted on Sophia's finger in my mind's eye, but here I was, Lucia Hale, the forgotten twin, alive and seething in our cramped Brooklyn walk-up. The betrayal burned fresh. He'd charmed Sophia, my mirror image, isolated her from me, then turned on her like she was disposable. But in that life, I'd burst in too late, try to play hero, and he'd snap my neck before the cops even got the 911 call. This time, I'd rewrite the ending. Starting with the part where my twin shows up at my door, beaten black and blue, sobbing like the world had caved in. I swung my legs over the bed, feet hitting the cold hardwood floor that smelled like stale coffee and unwashed dreams. The apartment was a time capsule, posters of indie bands peeling from the walls, Sophia's half-empty wine glass from last night still on the nightstand. We'd been thick as thieves back then, 25 and invincible, scraping by on freelance gigs in the city that chews up dreamers and spits out husks. Sophia was the golden girl, the one who landed the finance job at that flashy Wall Street firm, the one who met Alex at a rooftop mixer in the meatpacking district. Tall, dark-haired, green eyes that could disarm a room, me and her, interchangeable except for the tiny scar on my left knuckle from a childhood skateboarding wipeout. People always mixed us up, called us the Hale twins like we were a package deal. But Alex? He never did. He saw Sophia as his prize and me as the glitch in his perfect setup. By noon, I'd fake my way through a shift at the coffee shop, apron tied tight, steaming lattes for hipsters who tipped in Bitcoin promises, my mind racing like a subway train off the rails. Every glance in the steamed-up mirror behind the espresso machine was a gut punch. There I was, unscarred, unbroken. But the memories? They were etched in acid. Alex's voice, smooth as aged bourbon, whispering lies in Sophia's ear about how I was jealous, how I was trying to sabotage their engagement. The nights I'd spent pounding on her door, begging her to see the red flags, the unexplained bruises, the business trips to Atlantic City that left her alone and anxious. And that final night, 3 years from now in my old timeline, when she'd finally confessed over smuggled-in tequila that he was siphoning her savings, forging her signature on loans to fund a side hustle, some shady crypto scheme that promised millions but delivered nada. I'd stormed his penthouse that night, all fire and no plan, catching a mid-rant as he backhanded Sophia for talking back. He turned on me like I was the intruder, not the sister. "Stay out of it, Lucia," he'd snarled, but I didn't. I lunged, we fought, and he won. Easy. Because guys like Alex, Silver Spoon trust fund kid turned wannabe kingpin, don't fight fair. They choke. They hide bodies in the Hudson. And Sophia? She froze, shattered, until it was too late. The cops ruled it an intruder gone wrong, Alex the grieving fiancé spinning tales of heroism. He walked, pocketed her life insurance, and vanished into the ether with a new girl on his arm. Karma's a bitch, but apparently, she needed my help to deliver the payback. The bell above the shop door jingled me back to the present as my shift ended. Rain slicked the streets outside, turning the brownstones into blurred watercolors. I grabbed my hoodie, faded Yankees, a gift from Dad before the cancer took him, and bolted for the subway. Home was a third-floor walk-up in Williamsburg, the kind of place where artists and tech bros collided in passive-aggressive glory. As I climbed the stairs, 2 at a time, my phone buzzed. Sophia, texting a heart emoji and girls' night? Miss you. My throat tightened. In the old life, that text came right before the spiral. The engagement party invite she'd send next, laced with guilt trips about me, being happy for her. This time, I'd intercept it at the source. I unlocked the door, tossing keys on the Formica counter when a frantic pounding shook the frame. Not the super complaining about rent, deeper, desperate. I yanked it open, and there she was. Sophia, my twin, mascara streaked rivers down her cheeks, lips split and swelling, a purpling bruise blooming under her left eye like an ugly orchid. She wore that silk blouse from the sale at Macy's, the one we'd fought over, now torn at the collar. Lucia, she choked out, collapsing into my arms, her body trembling like a leaf in a gale. Alex. I told him about the money missing from my account, and he lost it. Said I was paranoid, ungrateful. God, Luce, it hurts. I pulled her inside, slamming the door against the hallway's fluorescent buzz, my arms wrapping around her like armor. She smelled of his cologne, some overpriced creed that screamed, "I'm better than you," mixed with the metallic tang of fierce sweat. In the old timeline, this was the night she didn't come to me. The night she patched herself up with concealer and apologies, convinced it was just stress from the wedding planning. But here, 3 years early, before the ring, before the isolation, this was my hook. My in. Show, sophomore. You're safe now. Tell me everything. I guided her to the couch, our thrift store relic with the sagging cushions, and grabbed the frozen peas from the freezer like it was muscle memory. She spilled it between hiccuping sobs. The charm offensive at the bar 2 months back, how he'd swept her off her feet with tales of Silicon Valley Dreams, a startup app that revolutionized micro-investments. The red flags she'd ignored, the late nights at the office, the charm turning to control. Tonight, she'd confronted him about the $5,000 vanishing from her checking, and he'd exploded. Slap across the face. Shove against the wall. He said if I leave, he'll ruin me. Make sure no one believes the crazy twin stories I tell. Her eyes met mine. Mirrors of green, pleading. What do I do, Luce? I thought he was the one. Rage boiled in my veins, hot and familiar. But this time, I had the script. I knew his playbook. Gaslight, isolate, escalate. Knew about the offshore accounts, the Ponzi vibes he'd layer on until victims like Sophia were broke and broken. In the old life, I died trying to expose it solo. This time, we'd flip the board. We end him, I said, voice steady as steel. Not with fists, with his own game. We swap. You become me for a bit, lay low. I become you, get close, dig up the dirt. Then we bury him in it. Her head snapped up, peas slipping to the floor. Swap? Like. Pretend to be each other? Luce, that's insane. We're identical, sure, but our lives? The job, the friends. Identical enough. I cut in, grabbing her chin gently, tilting her face to mine. Our reflections in the window were seamless, save for the bruises. I've got your schedule memorized. Your laugh, your tells. You crash here, call in sick to work, let me handle the fallout. Alex thinks you're the weak link? We'll make him chase shadows. It was controversial as hell, impersonating your own sister, risking fraud charges if caught. But in New York, where everyone's hustling a side lie, it felt like survival. And deep down, the part of me that remembered dying for her whispered, do it, or watch it happen again. Sophia searched my eyes, the twin bond humming like a live wire. Minutes stretched, rain pattering against the pane. Then a nod. Small but ironclad. Okay, but if it goes south? It won't. Lie, but the good kind. We sealed it with a pinky swear, childhood ritual, and by dawn, the swap was on. I slipped into her clothes, fitted pencil skirt, blouse mended with safety pins, while she borrowed my jeans and tee, smearing on my drugstore makeup to cover the damage. I coached her on the barista lingo, the passive-aggressive coworker drama. She schooled me on Alex's pet peeves, his favorite Thai spot in Midtown. As she slipped out the back fire escape to visit a friend, I straightened her spine and dialed his number. Hey, babe. Rough night. Can we talk? His voice purred through the line, all honey over gravel. Sophia? Where have you been? I was worried. Bullshit, but I played along, voice pitched to her soft lilt. By evening, I was at his door, takeout bags in hand, ready to play the devoted fiancé. The penthouse loomed like a glass trap, floor-to-ceiling views of the skyline, minimalist furniture that screamed, I have daddy's money. Alex opened up, all 6'2" of tailored suits and calculated charm, pulling me into a hug that lingered too long on my waist. You look different. Good, different. Bruises heal, I thought, forcing a smile. You will too, permanently. Game on. The first week of the swap was a high-wire act over a pit of lies, every step a calculation to keep the wobble from showing. Alex's world was a pressure cooker of schmoozing and scheming, and stepping into Sophia's heels meant navigating it blindfolded with one hand tied, her hand, technically. Morning started at 6 a.m. sharp, alarm blaring some pop playlist she'd curated, full of Taylor Swift anthems that made my teeth grind. I'd roll out of her queen-sized bed in his Tribeca loft, silk sheets that felt like shackles, and into the en-suite marble palace, practicing her makeup routine in the fogged mirror. Winged liner, just so, lipstick in that neutral rose she favored. No scar on my knuckle to give me away, thank God, but the mental Rolodex of her life? I raided it like a thief in the night. Work was the real gauntlet. Sophia's gig at Hale & Associates, ironic name, that, was a bullpen of young gunslingers in open collars, trading stock tips like currency. I slid into her desk by the window overlooking the bowl, flashing what I hoped was her easy grin at coworkers who clapped me on the back. Soph, you kill it on that quarterly report, said Mark from accounting, his coffee breath hot on my ear. I nodded, murmuring about leveraged ETFs, like I'd crammed for the SATs. Truth was, I'd skimmed her emails the night before, piecing together the puzzle of her days. But the real intel hunt started after hours, when Alex would text, dinner at Le Bernardin? Miss you. Miss controlling you, more like. Our dates were reconnaissance missions wrapped in romance. That first night, over seared foie gras that cost more than my old rent, he leaned in, eyes gleaming under the chandelier glow. You've been distant, sophomore. That fight. I overreacted. Pressure from the launch, you know? His hand covered mine, thumb stroking the knuckles, testing for weakness. I remembered those hands on my throat in the future that wouldn't be, and it took everything not to yank away. Instead, I channeled her, soft laugh, head tilt. I know, babe. Just scared me. But we're good, right? Tell me about the app again. How's the funding round? He lit up like a mark at a carny game, launching into the spiel. Apex Invest. It's revolutionary. Users pool microdollars into AI-vetted cryptos. We take a cut on the flips. Backers from Silicon Valley sniffing around. Could be 8 figures by Q4. Smooth, but I caught the tells. The averted gaze when he mentioned offshore liquidity, the way he'd sip his scotch too fast. In the old life, I'd uncovered the rot too late. Fake user accounts, siphoned funds into his personal Cayman slush fund. This time, I'd document every crumb. Back at the loft, intimacy was the minefield. He was all hands, expecting the fiancé who'd melted for him. I played along just enough. Kisses that lingered without committing, excuses about headaches from the city hum. But alone, I'd rifle his desk, encrypted drives, scribbled ledgers with names like ghost wallet transfers. One night, buzzed on the Merlot he'd poured, he let slip the big secret over takeout pad thai. Your sister's a piece of work, sophomore. Always calling, stirring shit. You think she's jealous? Of us? My blood iced, but I sipped, feigning nonchalance. Lucia's just protective. Family, you know. He chuckled, dark and low. Family's overrated. But hey, if she shows up again, tell her to back off. I don't share. Share? The word hung like smoke. In the old timeline, he'd planted doubts, turned her against me until I was the villain in her story. Not this round. I texted Sophia, holed up in my old apartment, binging Netflix and healing. He's probing. Stay dark. Love you. Her reply. Miss my life. You okay? Okay? I was a ghost in my twin skin, haunted by the death I'd already lived. Nights, I'd wake sweating, phantom pressure on my windpipe, the skyline mocking me through the blinds. But the swap held. Sophia nailed the barista bit, charming tips out of Wall Street wolves, even flirted with a cute regular named Theo, who owned a bookstore in the village. Feels weird being you, she'd whisper during our midnight check-ins at neutral spots, a diner in Chelsea, faces buried in hoodies. But freeing. No Alex takes, no excels. I'd squeeze her hand, our scarless knuckles brushing. That's the point. We're taking back the narrative. By week 2, the crack showed. A co-worker, Lila, the sharp-tongued paralegal, cornered me in the ladies' room. Soph, you okay? You've been off. Snappier on calls, less chatty at lunch. Sweat beaded under my blouse. Sophia was the social butterfly, I the observer. Just stressed, I lied, flashing teeth. Wedding jitters. Lila's eyes narrowed.
Right.
Because Alex is such a catch. Sarcasm dripped like acid. Was it that obvious? Back home, Alex amped the pressure, gifting me a diamond tennis bracelet that screamed lease. For my girl, he murmured, fastening it as we prepped for a gala at the Met. Black tie, schmoozers and tuxes, the air thick with ambition and old money. The event was a viper pit, venture capitalists circling like sharks, Alex's investors flashing Rolexes and fake tans. I clung to his arm, eavesdropping gold. One suit, paunchy and red-faced, Victor Hale, no relation, clapped Alex's shoulder. Kid, Apex's gold. But those liquidity reports?
Chigging up.
Auditors sniffing. Alex's jaw ticked, smile plastic. Later, in the coatroom haze, I snapped pics of his phone when he stepped for a smoke. Text to JV about offloading $50K to shadow account. Clean it. Jackpot. But as we drove back in his Audi, rain lashing the windshield, he turned, eyes hard. Sophia, level with me. Is something up? You grilled Victor like an interrogator. Heart slamming, I leaned in, lips brushing his ear, distraction tactic. Just excited for us, babe. For the future. It bought time, led to a night of feigned passion that left me hollow. But the next day, digging deeper, I hit the motherlode, a hidden folder on his laptop. Contingencies. Emails chaining him to a ring. Shell companies laundering casino wins through Apex. Victims like Sophia marked as dispensable assets. One name jumped. Elena Voss, a ex-employee who disappeared after threatening to whistleblow. Murdered? The old life's echo hit. My death, ruled accident. But now? Patterns emerged. Alex wasn't just a cheater. He was a predator, burying bodies financial and literal. The decision crystallized then, controversial as a loaded gun in church. Exposure wasn't enough. He'd weasel out like before. We needed leverage, irrefutable, soul-crushing. Something that'd make his world implode from the inside. I texted Sophia. Found the abyss.
Time to push him in.
Meet at the bridge? Her reply on it. But loose. What if we get caught? Then we run together. Twin code for all in. As the city lights blurred past, I gripped the bracelet like a talisman. Payback's clock was ticking, and Alex had no idea the ghost in his bed was the sister he'd already killed. Nights blurred into a fever dream of deception, the swap seams fraying like cheap stockings. Sophia thrived in my shadow life, picked up shifts at the bookstore with Theo, his easy grin thawing her frost. He's real. She'd gush over burner phone calls, voice lighter than I'd heard in years. Asks about books, not bank balances. Jealousy nipped at me, petty and human, but I shoved it down. This was for her, for us. The bruises faded to yellow ghosts on her skin, but the fire in her eyes? That was new, forged in the quiet of my old apartment, surrounded by my dog-eared Vonnegut novels and half-finished canvases. Meanwhile, I burrowed deeper into Alex's lair, a mole in pinstripes. Mornings, I'd feign sleep as he paced the loft, murmuring into his earpiece about containment protocols. Afternoons at the firm, I'd accidentally bump into Lila again, probing casual. Heard rumors about Apex. Shady. She'd snort, filing nails blood red. Girl, if your man's clean, I'm the Pope. Watch your back, sophomore. Warning heated. Evenings were the real grind. Dinners where I'd play the doting fiancé, slipping questions like razor blades into tiramisu. Babe, that Elena girl, whatever happened? You mentioned her once. His fork paused midair, smile cracking. Old news. Burnout case. Why? Just curious. You handle so much. Flattery his kryptonite. But inside, the plan coalesced, dark, debatable, deliciously American in its vigilante flair. We wouldn't just leak docs. We'd stage a sting. Sophia as bait, me as the closer. Controversial? Hell yes. Entrapment skirted the law like a jaywalker in Times Square. But after dying for this bastard's ego, rules felt like suggestions. Week 3 dawned gray and gritty, fog rolling off the East River like bad karma. I called in sick to work, migraine, classic Sophia excuse, and met Sophia at our childhood diner in Queens, vinyl booths sticky with nostalgia. She slid in opposite, hair chopped shorter in a new-me bob that screamed rebellion. Missed pancakes, she said, but her eyes were steel. I spread the printouts, blurry phone pics of ledgers, annotated with my chicken scratch notes. He's underwater. $2 mil funneled to mobbed-up casinos via Apex.
Elena?
Not burnout. She confronted him, ended up overdosed in her tub. Cops called it suicide. Sophia's fork clattered, color draining.
Jesus, Luce. And he.
Our Alex. Our? The slip hung, but she barreled on. We go public?
Sick?
Cops. I shook my head, syrup pooling untouched. Too slow. He lawyers up, vanishes offshore. No, we hit personal. Invite him to a reconciliation weekend upstate. You show as me, forgiving old grudges. I stay as you, plant the seed that you're cracking, ready to bolt with evidence. Then boom, confront in front of his bigwigs. Record it all. Her green eyes, my eyes, widened, a mirror of doubt. That's revenge porn for crooks. What if he snaps? Like on me? The bruised shadow flickered in memory. I reached across, palms pressing. Then we end it. For Elena. For the me who didn't make it last time. The unspoken hung. For the death I carry like a scar. She swallowed, nodded. Twins against the world. Always. The setup was surgical. I booked the cabin, rustic A-frame in the Catskills, all pine beams and no cell service for romance. Alex bit, eager to patch things. En route, Audi purring up the Taconic, he cranked classic rock, Springsteen wailing about highways and ghosts, his hand on my thigh possessive. This'll be good for us, sophomore.
No distractions.
Just you and me. I smiled, nails digging crescents into my palm. Just you and your noose. Sophia arrived as me, that night, knocking tentative, flannel shirt over jeans. Alex answered, brow furrowing. Lucia? What the Sophia's inside. She played it flustered. I, needed to apologize. For the meddling. He bought it, grudging beer poured, tension crackling like campfire sparks. I watched from the kitchen shadows, her as me, nailing the slouch, the wry quip, while stoking the paranoia. Soft's been weird, man. Talking divorce, hiding papers. His eyes narrowed, Scotch glass cracking in grip. What papers? By midnight, the trap sprung. I confessed over stew. Tears scripted. About finding the files. Elena's fate. You're drowning us, Alex. I can't. He lunged, face volcanic, but Sophia, my fierce shadow, barreled in, phone recording, voice steady. Touch her, and it's over. All of it. Chaos erupted. Shouts, shoves, him snarling threats of ruin. But we held, twins united, feeding him rope until he hanged himself on tape, admissions spilling like blood from a vein.
Yeah, y handled Elena.
She was a liability, like you two meddling bitches. Dawn broke as we fled, tires screeching down mountain roads, his howls fading. Back in the city, we ditched the swap, me and my scars, her and her strength, and uploaded the gold to a whistleblower site, anonymous but airtight. The feds swarmed by noon, headlines screaming, fintech fraud kingpin busted. Alex in cuffs, empire crumbling, facing decades for fraud, manslaughter.
But the twist?
As we huddled in the diner again, free and fractured, Sophia slid a positive test across the booth.
His.
From before. My gut dropped, life from the monster. Abortion?
Keep.
The choice loomed, controversial as our revenge. A new ghost in our mirror. We chose together. Keep, raise strong. A fuck you to his legacy. Kisses on knuckles, twins eternal. The city hummed on, but we were reborn. Wait, no. That's not the end. Not yet. The real gut punch waited in the afterglow when the knock came at Sophia's door. Our door now, shared victory. A detective, badge gleaming, eyes sharp. Ms. Hale? We need to talk about the Apex takedown.
Your
involvement. Our blood ran cold. Turns out, in our zeal, we tripped a wire. Sophia's work access logs showed anomalies during the swap. Lila, that sharp bitch, had tipped them off, suspicious twin vibes too strong. Interrogation room. Fluorescent hell, coffee like motor oil. Separated, grilled. Impersonations a felony, ladies. But the evidence you dropped? Saved lives. Plea deal dangled. Community service, sealed records, for the greater good. Controversial justice, American as apple pie and plea bargains. We walked, tethered tighter, raising little Alex Jr., renamed Luca, fierce as his aunts, with stories of ghosts we slayed. In the end, rebirth wasn't clean. It was messy, vengeful, ours. And as the skyline glittered that first free night, arms linked on the Brooklyn Bridge, wind whipping our hair identical, I whispered, we won. Sophia grinned, scar-free. Damn right. Now let's live. 3 months post-bust, the city felt like a different beast, still hungry, but we'd learned its teeth. Sophia's belly swelled under loose sweaters, a secret we guarded like contraband, while I crashed on her couch, job hunting between freelance gigs that paid in exposure and ramen. The plea deal stuck. 200 hours at a victims advocacy center in Harlem, where I'd counsel women with eyes like Sophia's, haunted, hopeful. Irony bit deep. Me, the dead girl walking, dishing resilience tips. Set boundaries, I'd say, voice steady, while flashbacks clawed. Alex's grip, the snap. But each session chipped the ice, turning rage to resolve. Sophia bloomed too, nesting the loft, his loft, seized in forfeiture, now ours by squatter's grace, painting murals of fierce women on the walls, Theo dropping by with dog-eared mysteries and that lopsided smile. Yet peace was a fragile truce. Alex's trial loomed like thunderheads over Central Park, headlines cycling his mugshot. Wall Street wolf caged. Victim testimonies piled up, Elena Voss's family, a parade of drained retirees, and our anonymous drop got mythologized as the twin whistle. But whispers followed us. At the bodega, stares from suits who knew the Hales too well. Those girls, they played him. Admiration laced with shade. Controversial heroes in a town that loves its villains until the cuffs click. The real tension brewed internal. Nights, as Sophia hummed lullabies to her bump. Our bump, in a way, I'd pace the fire escape, cigarette dangling unlit, replaying the what-ifs. What if the swap had cracked sooner? What if I'd died for nothing? Rebirth's gift was clarity, but curses too. Hypervigilance, trust a casualty. Theo sensed it, his hand gentle on Sophia's knee during movie nights, but his eyes flicked to me, wary, wondering. You too. It's like you're one person split. Clothes but no cigar. We were two halves of a vendetta, fused in fire. Then the letter came. Slipped under the door, no stamp, envelope crisp cream. Sophia and Lucia Hale. We know what you did. Meet or pay. No signature, but the cologne wafted, Creed, that bastard scent, clung like a threat. My pulse jackhammered. Sophia paled, hand to mouth. His crew? The casino guys? We torched Alex, but embers lingered, his associates. Shadows in the ledgers I'd snapped. Victor Hale, that paunchy investor, topped the list. Connected, crooked, untouchable. The meat? A warehouse in Red Hook, midnight, Brooklyn's underbelly where artists spray-tagged shipping containers by day and deals went south by night. We debated. Cops? No. Our deal was fragile, and snitching deeper risked Luca's future. Go alone?
Suicide.
So, twins again. Me as bait. Sophia watching from the shadows with a burner cam. Controversial redux. Vigilantes reloaded, but the old life whispered finish it. Dusk fell oily, rain turning streets to mirrors. I slipped into Sophia's old blouse, the torn one from that night, armor of memory, and cabbed to the docks. The warehouse loomed, graffiti-scarred beast, door creaking like a grave. Inside, Victor, flanked by two goons in ill-fit suits, cigar smoke curling like serpents. Lucia Hale, he drawled, southern transplant gone native, belly straining his vest. Or should I say, the ghost who wouldn't stay dead? Shock rippled, how? But he leaned in, breath sour. Your boy's tapes? Mentioned sisters meddling. Cross-checked faces. Cute trick, the switcheroo. Alex underestimated you. I won't. Demand. Retract the evidence. Testify it was fabricated for leniency. Or else, Luca's safety, our kneecaps. Rage surged, but I played cool, channeling barista snark. Retract?
Nah.
But hey, cut a deal. Your name scrubbed from the files, we walk. He laughed, bellow deep. Feisty. Like Elena. The name landed like a gut punch. She thought she could bargain too. Found her floating. Confirmation. Murder, cold. My fists clenched, scar itching. That's when Sophia burst in. Plan be damned. Phone aloft. Live streaming to a cloud drive.
Smila, Beak.
NYPD's watching. Bluff, but the goons hesitated. Victor's cigar dropping ash. Chaos. Shoves, shouts. Me grabbing a loose pipe as the first thug lunged. Swing, crack against knee, howl echoing. Sophia dodged, nails raking the second's face. Feral mama bear. Victor bolted for the door, but I blocked, pipe raised. For Elena. He froze, eyes calculating. Sirens wailed distant, real or not. And he spat. Truce. Keep my name out, or the hails drown. We let him slink, hearts pounding, rain washing blood. Minor cuts from our hands. Back home, barricaded, we waited for fallout. None came. Victor vanished from headlines, plea his own. But the wind tasted bittersweet. We'd stirred the hive, bees buzzing closer. Pregnancy's glow hit Sophia hard then, ultrasounds showing a fighter, kicks like Morse code for strong. Theo proposed over falafel in the park, rings simple silver, no diamonds to chain. She said yes, tears salting the hummus, me toasting with seltzer. To seconds. But doubts gnawed. Was Luca cursed? Alex's blood, a ticking bomb? Counseling sessions turned inward. The advocate shrank. Dr. Reyes probed, gentle. Rebirth isn't linear, Lucia. Trauma loops until you break it.
Break it?
I journaled the death, the swap, purging like vomit. Pages filled. I died for love. Lived for hate.
Now?
Trial day dawned crisp October, courthouse steps mobbed with press vultures. We testified anonymous, voices distorted behind screens, but Alex's glare pierced. Pure venom. You bitches, he mouthed as cuffs rattled. Verdict. Guilty, 25 to life, fraud and second degree for Elena. Cheers erupted, but I slipped out, nausea roiling. Victory but hollow, another ghost laid, mine stirred. That night, contractions hit early. Luca premature but fierce, lungs bellowing in the ER white. Sophia gripped my hand, sweat slick. Our boy. Theo paced. I whispered stories of twins unbreakable. Dawn brought him. Dark hair, green eyes, no monster in sight. Rebirth's true gift, not revenge, But this, family forged in fire, unbreakable as Brooklyn concrete. Yet the controversial lingered. Whispers of a hail curse, tabloids sniffing our swap saga. We moved upstate, cabin life, ironic echo, Theo's bookstore franchising, Sophia writing a memoir ghosted as fiction.
Me?
Teaching self-defense to survivors, pipe swings turned empowerment. Luca's first steps on pine floors, laughter echoing. But some nights, skyline dreams pull me back. Alex's grin, Victor's threat. Reborn?
Yes.
But vigilance eternal. In America, happy endings come armed. As winter blanketed the hills, a package arrived, and signed, contents chilling. Photos of us. Luca circled red. Victor's truce broken? Or new player? Sophia's hand found mine. Twin bond humming. Round 2. Her grin fierce.
Minemat kid.
Always. The story didn't end. It reloaded. And we were the bullets. Spring thawed the cabin's frost, but the package's chill lingered like black ice under tires. Photos pinned to the fridge, our daily route to the co-op, Luca's daycare window, eyes unseen tracking every move. Victor's ghost? Or Alex's parting shot from Sing Sing, where he'd landed after appeals tanked. Letters from him piled up, filtered through Theo's steady hand. My son deserves better than your lies. Bullshit paternal claim from the man who'd choke a twin. We lawyered up, pro bono from the Advocacy Center, Dr. Reyes pulling strings, but evidence was vapor, threats whispers and wind. Life pressed on, relentless American grind. Sophia's memoir, Doppelganger Blues, hit indie shelves under pseudonym S. Hale, chapters veiling our swap in fiction's fog. Reviews glowed, a taut thriller of identity and retribution. Royalties trickled, funding Luca's Montessori and my self-defense classes, now a non-profit gig in town. Hale shields, women only, teaching holds and heel stomps to songs by Beyoncé. Powers not given. I'd bark, demoing escapes. It's taken. Students nodded, bruises fading. But mine? Invisible, etched in nightmares where Alex's hands were formed around Luca's tiny throat. Theo anchored us, his bookstore a haven of musty pages and coffee steam. Evenings, he'd read to Luca, Where the Wild Things Are, voice rumbling like safe thunder, while Sophia sketched covers for her next book, belly round again with number 2. Pregnancy Redux. Bolder this time, no shadows.
But me?
The third wheel in paradise, crashing on the pullout, dating apps swiped left on ghosts of my own. A bar hookup here, a coffee ghost there, nothing stuck. Rebirth scar. Intimacy a battlefield, trust collateral. The break came mid-June, heat wave baking the valley. A class dropout, jittery mom named Carla, lingered post-session. Heard your story, kinda. The Wall Street thing. Eyes darting, she slid a USB. From a friend of Elena's. Victor's ledger, real one. Names, dates. He's escalating, thinks you're the key to springing Alex. My pulse thrummed. Jackpot or Judas? I pocketed it, sent her home with free sessions. That night, laptop glow harsh, files unfolded. Victor's empire, tendrils in politics, donations to a senator's PAC, laundered through Apex remnants. And us. Marked neutralize, with a hit date circled, July 4th, fireworks cover for chaos. Sophia paced as I spilled, Luca napping oblivious. Cops. Theo urged, jaw set. But she shook head, fire rekindled. They buried Elena. We finish what we started. Controversial calculus. Vigilantes versus system. Round 2. Plan hatched over cheap wine. Infiltrate Victor's annual Liberty Gala in the city, Hampton's estate, elite schmooze fest. Me as caterer, hired via a forged resume, Sophia as +1 date to a mark.
Theo min Luca, burner cam zone.
Stake, steal his master drive, expose the web, bury him beside Alex. Prep was boot camp brutal. Mornings, I shadowed event staff, memorizing trays and toasts. Afternoons, Sophia role-played socialite, gown rented thrift chic. You're glowing, I teased, zipping her into emerald silk. Her laugh brittle, faking it till free. July 3rd, we rolled into the Hamptons, U-Haul stuffed with disguises, nerves electric. Estate sprawled oceanfront, white columns, infinity pool shimmering like fool's gold. Guests, politicos and seersucker, wives dripping heirlooms. I wove trays of caviar blinis, ears perked, Victor holding court by the fire pit, paunch ballooned, laugh booming. Hails, loose ends, handle quiet. Heart stutter, he knew we were here? No, general threat, but close. Sophia glided in on arm of a decoy, rented escort, clueless cutie, whispering network. By midnight, fireworks cracked skyward, booms masking our creep to his study. Oak-paneled lair, safe humming behind a Rothko fake.
Combo?
Overheard earlier. Elena's birthday, cruel twist. Click, open. Drive snatched, files mirroring Carla's, senator's bribes, hits contracted. One entry gutted. Hail twins, witness elimination, $50,000. Alarms wailed as we bolted, goons swarming, Sophia's heels snapping on marble. Chaos. Punch to jaw, Trey wielded as shield, her nails raking eyes. We tumbled out poolside, guests scattering like confetti, Victor bellowing from the terrace. Stop them. Fireworks finale drowned shots. Warning pops into turf, but we vaulted the hedge, hearts exploding, sprinting beachwood. Salt air burned lungs, waves crashing accomplice. Cab pre-staged, we peeled out, drive clutched like Excalibur. Back upstate by dawn, files uploaded to the same whistle site, bang. Feds swarmed Victor's dawn arrest, headlines erupting. Gala bust, senator's dirty donor down. Our role? Shadow again, tips anonymous. Senator resigned by noon, web unraveling. Casino rings cracked, Elena's case reopened as homicide. Victor sang like Sinatra, flipping on Alex for leniency. Conspiracy charges piled, his life sentence etched in stone. But the cost? Bruises bloomed anew, Sophia's ankle sprained, my ribs cracked from a goon's elbow. Luca's first word post-mayhem. Boom, mimicking fireworks, innocent echo. Theo held us, no questions. Ring on Sophia's finger, a vow renewed.
Me?
The USB's heroics bought peace, but solitude deepened. A new student, tall, tattooed vet named Riley, lingered after class, eyes knowing.
Senior fire.
Coffee.
Sparks? Tentative.
Rebirth's next chapter? Fall painted leaves bloody, Luca toddling, sibling arriving colicky but conqueror, a girl, named Elena. We gathered for Thanksgiving, table groaning turkey and truths. To ghosts, Sophia toasted, glasses clinking. And the living. Laughter flowed, but undercurrent hummed. Threats silenced, but America's underbelly endless. Victor's trial loomed, our subpoena dodged via deals. Yet in quiet I journaled. Died once. Lived twice. Enough? The final twist slithered in December, snow blanketing sins. A call from Sing Sing chaplain, Alex, terminal, liver from the Scotch, irony neat. Wants to see the twins. Confession. We debated, controversial pilgrimage. Mercy or minefield. Road trip, bundled Luca with Theo. Prison gray as regret, Alex shackled, gaunt specter. Hated you both, he rasped, eyes hollow. For seeing me. Confession spilled. Elena's drowning, my old death plotted. Forgive. Sophia's hand crushed mine.
No.
But Luca? He keeps your name clean. Be nothing. He died New Year's alone. We watched ball drop in Times Square, anonymous in crowds, cheers drowning ghosts. Reborn, revenged, redeemed. The end?
Nah.
Just intermission. Twins forever. America our arena, fierce, flawed, unbreakable. Years folded like origami cranes, sharp creases, delicate flights. Luca hit 5 running, a whirlwind of questions and scraped knees, Elena toddling terror behind, her giggles a balm on old wounds. The cabin expanded, edition funded by Sophia's bestseller sequel, Echoes of Us, twin tales thinly veiled, Oprah Book Club buzz. Theo's chain hit 10 stores, Wild Pages, Cozy nooks for story time and soy lattes.
Me?
Hail Shields franchise statewide. Classes packed with survivors scripting their own sequels. Riley stuck, tattoos mapping his wars. Our nights tangled slow and sure. No rush. Rebirth taught patience, scars shared like secrets. But America's pulse never quiets. Victor's empire crumbled full. Rico trials toppling dominoes, senators jailed, casinos shuttered. Elena Voss's family sued, settlement funding scholarships, Voss voices, anti-fraud crusades. We donated quiet, ghosts guiding hands. Yet echoes persisted, tabloid digs on the Hale switch, podcasts dissecting our heist. Controversy's currency. Some hailed vigilantes, others cried fraud. Dr. Reyes, over Zoom therapy, nodded sage. Own the narrative, Lucia. You're the author now. Summer 29 brought the storm. Luca's school play, pint-sized Hamlet soliloquizing on revenge. Laughter choked as he hammed, to be or not to be. Green eyes, Alex's eyes, sparkling pure. Post-curtain, Riley's arm around me, Sophia beaming from seats. But backstage, a face from fog. Carla, the jittery mom, older, steadier. Oh, you. Victor's gone, but ripples. Handed a flash, new player. Alex's half-brother, laundering remnants. Targeting reformers like you.
Gut twisted Hydra regrof.
Files confirmed. Damian Crow, slicker shadow, funneling through green energy scams. Donors overlapping victors. Our names? Hale Project discredit.
Hit.
No, smear campaign. Deepfakes of us profiting from pain. Controversial crossroads. Expose again or fade. Family vote over ice cream. Luca's sticky fist pump. Kick butt ant loose. Sophia's nod fierce. Twins don't quit. The sting was symphony. Infiltrated Damien's Eco Summit in Aspen. Glitzy greenwash, celebs posing with EVs. Mia as journalist, Riley as photog, Sophia virtual panelist, Elena Voss memorial speaker. Planted mics, honey trap docs from a tipsy aide. Twist mid-gala. Damien cornered me by the spa, cologne creed light.
Hale.
Your brother's mess? Water under. Join me. Expose the exposes. Offer-laced poison. Board seat. Hush money. I smiled, recorder whirring.
Pass.
But your ledgers? They're swimming upstream. Bust hit viral. Feds raiding at dawn. Summit speakers scattering. Damien cuffed mid-yoga pose headlines. Green grift guru grounded. Our drop, again shadow. Smears backfired. Deepfakes debunked. Hale Shields donations spiked. Luca drew us capes, super twins.
Elena Bablet de Joes.
By fall, quiet reclaimed. Riley proposed on the bridge, Brooklyn. Full circle, ring etched with scars. Your ghosts? Mine too. Team up. Yes, whispered over skyline. Wedding small. Cabin. Wildflowers. Luca ring-bearer tripping giggles. Vows. Through deaths and do-overs. Honeymoon? Catskills cabin. Ours now. Pine-scented peace. Decades end. Luca 10, Elena 8. Family swelled with Riley's kin. Sophia's trilogy capped. Theo's empire cozy.
Me?
Memoir penned. Twin flames. A reborn reckoning. Bestseller bomb. Controversies? Fuel. Threats?
Parfois vengeance course.
But in mirrors, twin and wed, faces smiled unscarred. Final hook, New Year's, ball dropping, Luca asks, Aunt Luce, did you die once? Storytime truth, age softened.
Yeah, kid.
But came back swinging. His grin wide.
Cool.
Like superheroes. Sophia winks across champagne. Damn right. Rebirth's arc, not linear triumph, but jagged joy. Betrayed. We built. Bruised, unbreakable. America, messy, merciless, our stage. Curtain? Never. Lights up eternal.